Welcome to the Zholombet Mining and Processing Complex of JSC AK Altyn Almaz, located in northern Kazakhstan, Akmolinskaya region, 50 kilometers from Shortandy railway station. The facility includes the Centralnaya mine, the ventilation mine, quarry number 6, a crushing and screening complex, a gold recovery factory, a gas station, a laboratory, a lifting and drainage site, a site of maintenance and repair of portable and stationary equipment, a construction department. The main activity of MPC Zholombet is the extraction of gold-bearing ore by underground and open-pit methods and its processing. According to the law of the Republic of Kazakhstan on civil defense, the Zholombet MPC is classified as a hazardous production facility, so our top priority is to create safe working conditions. At the Zholombet MPC, the Occupational Health and the Industrial Safety Policy of JSC AK Altyn Almaz is in effect. Every visitor and employee must strictly adhere to the golden rules of safety of JSC AK Altyn Almaz. When visiting our complex, you may be exposed to the following harmful and dangerous occupational factors: collapse and fall of rock mass, moving and rotating parts of equipment, harmful chemicals, electric shock, noise, vibration, mobile underground transport, underground fires, toxic gases, fumes in the air of underground workings, toxic explosion products, dust, exhaust gases when using equipment with internal combustion engines. When visiting the MPC, you need to obtain a pass of the established sample. The pass is only valid if you have identification. You must always carry your ID document with you. The use of mobile cellular phones and the other technical devices is strictly prohibited on the territory of the complex. It is forbidden to bring in explosives and flammable substances, aerosols, sharp objects, food, narcotic and psychotropic substances, alcoholic and energy drinks. Each visitor and worker is required to undergo pre-shift medical examination. Refusal to undergo a pre-shift medical examination is grounds for denial of access to work. It is permitted to move around the complex on foot along designated routes, and movement should be carried out according to traffic regulations. Newly hired employees as well as visitors must undergo introductory training in industrial safety, fire safety, and labor protection. Workers must know and follow the instructions provided by warning signs, labels, and posters. When performing tasks, workers should use proper tools and equipment, not enter or start work in mine excavations without supports or in the presence of overhanging pieces of rock until the excavations are brought to a safe condition. Do not enter areas where blasting operations are taking place. Do not perform any work without a written permit or admission order when carrying out high-risk activities. Perform maintenance and preventive works involving any type of energy, electrical, compressed air, steam, water, etc., using blocking and isolating devices. Secure dangerous zones to avoid falling objects and injuries to people. Use proper and certified personal protective equipment while performing tasks. During your visit to the mine, you will need to use the following personal protective equipment: special protective clothing, respirators, gloves, earplugs, hard hat, protective goggles, rubber boots, mine self-rescuer, light, flashlight. Before descending into the mine, you must familiarize yourself with the emergency response plan and emergency exits, making a record in the registration journal for acquaintance with emergency exits under the supervision of a mining engineer. After becoming familiar with the emergency response plan and escape routes, proceed to the lamp room to receive your mine self-rescuer and light. Using the mine self-rescuer. In case of an emergency in the mine, hold your breath, move the shoulder strap to your neck and position the self-rescuer in front of you. Hold the body with your left hand. Pressing one hand against the case, unlock it with the other hand. With your right hand, pull up the mouthpiece with the heat exchanger. Straighten the breathing back. Take the mouthpiece in your mouth. Breathe out into the mouthpiece. Put the nose clip on your nose. Subsequent inhales and exhales should be done through your mouth. Adjust the length of the strap so that the length of the corrugated tube does not restrict head movements. Remove your hard hat. Put on your glasses. Put your hard hat back on. Leave the accident area. The mine has an emergency alert system and selective calling system. Alarm signals are transmitted via the SUBR1P system. A receiver is installed on the main mine lamp to notify personnel in the mine galleries about emergencies or individual calls to communicate with the dispatcher. The receiver receives radio signals from the SUBR1P complex and converts them into flashing lights on the miner's helmet lamp. 8 flashes of all individual miners' lamps mean emergency. 4 flashes indicate individual call to contact the dispatcher. When descending into the mine shaft and exiting the mine, workers must unconditionally follow the requirements of the shaft operator during boarding and disembarking from the cage, as well as while inside the cage. They must maintain order and observe the sequence when entering and exiting the cage, avoiding chaos and pushing. Only the number of people allowed for the lift's capacity may enter the cage. Inside the cage, stand along the long side and hold onto the handrails. Exiting the cage is only permitted after it stops and the doors are opened by the shaft operator or leverman. When leaving the cage, be careful not to trip over rails or other obstacles along the way. While moving through the mine galleries, workers must travel to and from their workplace strictly along the designated road. Do not enter abandoned sections of the mine, illuminate your path with a personal lamp and constantly monitor the condition of the floor and roof of the gallery. When crossing railroad tracks, ensure there is no approaching transport. Listen for signals from moving vehicles. Do not run across tracks in front of an approaching train. Do not approach moving or operating vehicles until they come to a complete stop and establish contact with the driver. Avoid touching electrical equipment, cables, drives, stepping on manhole covers or different types of coverings, pits and trenches. If you notice danger, warn responsible persons at the mine. In case of an emergency or another unusual situation, do not panic. Report the incident to the dispatcher or direct supervisor, then proceed away from the source of danger towards the mine or backup exits. In underground mine galleries, the speed of self-propelled vehicles should not exceed 20 km/h, and at junctions, turns and when passing each other, it should not be more than 5 km/h. Pedestrian movement in galleries where self-propelled vehicles operate is allowed if clearances between the vehicle and the wall of the gallery are maintained at least 1.2 meters on the driver's side and half a meter on the opposite side. If a pedestrian encounters an oncoming self-propelled vehicle, the pedestrian must stop and signal the driver by circling their personal lamp. Once past the vehicle, signal with upward and downward movements of the lamp to inform the driver that you are in a safe zone and they can continue freely. When visiting the quarry or crushing and sorting complex, you need to use the following personal protective equipment: special protective clothing, respirators, earplugs, hard hat, protective goggles, gloves or mittens, boots with protective toe caps, high visibility vest. Before visiting the quarry, you must familiarize yourself with the emergency response plan with the mining engineer. Walking around the quarry on foot as well as without accompaniment is strictly prohibited. Vehicle movement within the complex must comply with the Enterprise road map and traffic rules. When reversing, drivers must sound a double horn signal. Parking is performed in reverse gear, positioning the front of the car toward the roadway. Passenger vehicles authorized to enter the quarry must be equipped with flashing beacons and flagpoles. It is strictly prohibited to travel in a vehicle without fastening seat belts. Transport standing passengers in buses. Passengers are prohibited from approaching a moving vehicle until it comes to a complete stop. Unfastening seat belts until the vehicle has stopped completely. When on the premises of the Crushing and Sorting Complex (CSC), do not cross established barriers. Do not walk under conveyor lines. Do not touch seals, electric wires, or open and enter behind electrical panel doors or enclosures, assemblies, or other electrical equipment. Pay attention to audible and visual alarms. Always hold onto railings and handles and use 3 points of support. In case of an emergency, contact the dispatcher through the nearest telephone or radio. Proceed to the assembly point and wait for further instructions. In case of a fire, use a fire extinguisher. Remove the fire extinguisher from its wall mount. Approach the fire from the windward side. Break the seal and remove the pin. Direct the nozzle at the base of the fire. Press the handle and extinguish the fire starting from the bottom until it's fully eliminated. Assess risk before beginning work by filling out the Safety Work Analysis notebook. Wear functional personal protective equipment, follow instructions, obey traffic rules, and stay healthy. Each worker has the right to cease work if it cannot be performed safely. Being under the influence of alcohol or drugs at the workplace is not permitted. Organize your work safely. Your loved ones are eagerly waiting for you at home.